Hey everybody, welcome to the Legal Tech Mastery Show. My name is Amy Bowser-Rollins, and today we're going to be talking with a deputy director of a law library in Houston. And Joe really impressed me with what he's offering online to people in terms of legal technology training, so I wanted to bring him on and share him with you. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of why we need legal tech training, and Joe's going to share his perspective. We're going to see and talk about the legal tech lab that this is set to automatically go off. The legal tech lab that Joe has set up in the library in Houston, and also what a training is available with his program, what he offers. We're going to go over all that in detail for you today. Today is the last week of, or the last episode of season 3 of this show, and I'm going to come back with season 4, but I'm going to take a little bit longer break. I usually take a 2-week break. I'm going to take a little bit longer of a break, and I just recently sent, last week, I sent a survey to you guys to get some feedback now that I've done 3 seasons, which is about 30 episodes. To get some feedback on the content and what you have enjoyed or what you wish I would do more of. So there's a link to the survey in the description on Facebook and YouTube. If you haven't completed that survey, it takes about 2 minutes. It's 6 quick questions. If you could just fill that out and let me know so that I can... My audience is a really engaged audience, and you guys always over the years have let me know what you want from me, so it really helps me to get you content that you enjoy or that you can learn from, or so I'm doing this for you, and your input is important to me, so take a few minutes and complete that survey if you can. I just want to remind people that I will be at ILTA next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. So it's a industry legal tech conference that's every year in August, and I will be there if you want me to get in touch with you and let you know where I'm hanging out. At the conferences, I usually hang out in one spot, and everybody comes to me as they have time. So I can let you know where I'll be if you want to meet in person. Kathleen is saying hello. Hey, Kathleen, good to see you here. Okay, well, let's get the show started. Hey everybody, welcome to the Legal Tech Mastery Show. I'm so glad you're here, and today I have a really special guest, Joe Lawson. Let's bring Joe on right now. Hey Joe, say hi to everybody.
Hi, Amy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Thanks for saying yes. Can you share with us what your career path in the legal industry has been so far?
Sure. So it started off pretty traditional. I went to law school right after undergrad. I got a job with a very good firm in Indianapolis, Indiana, and practiced for a while as a civil litigator. During that time, I sort of found myself gravitating toward research projects and trying to help others, find information, that sort of thing. So when I heard about law librarianship as another career path that you can do with a JD, I started investigating and found that it was a very good one for me. I started off at after I earned my MLS, that's a Master of Library Science from University of North Texas. I started off with a small county law library in Fort Bend County, Texas, which is a suburb of the Houston area, and met a lot of great people there, sort of innovated the services, brought some digital resources into the 21st century, and then also started some educational programs as well. I applied for the job as deputy director at the Harris County Law Library, which is in downtown Houston, a much larger audience and service area, and so I was able to move up to that opportunity and sort of do the same thing, help my director with innovating services, and then also starting educational programs, and specifically in legal technology, which is what I'm here to talk about today.
Yeah, awesome. So how long have you been at Harris County Law Library?
Let's see, I think it's about four years now, just over 4 years. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, time flies.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Vanessa's in the house saying hi. Linda McGrath Cruz is here. She's saying hi to Joe. And actually, Joe, Linda is the one that was on my show doing the mail merge. So every note you've sent me about how thankful you are, I've sent it to her. Go ahead.
May I please take a minute to just plug Linda's program? It was at the end of season 2. We recently sent out our 5-year report detailing all of the wonderful things we've done at my law library in the last 5 years. I had to send it out to just an entire audience of elected officials, judges, county employees, that sort of thing. And watching Amy's program with Linda really saved me a lot of work and time, because I was able to learn mail merge and do all the envelopes, all of the cover letters, all that sort of thing in about half an hour instead of about a week. So thank you very much, Linda, for doing the program.
Wow.
Yeah, it really saved me. And now I'm actually working within my parent organization. I've gotten some comments from the Harris County Attorney's Office, from paralegals and legal assistants, that they want me to do a program on this. And so we're trying to hopefully develop that based on some of the information I learned from Linda on Amy's show. So thank you, Linda.
Awesome. And Linda and I we've been wanting to do something together for years now. We finally decided to do this project. And then we were talking about topics, and we were like, should we do something as basic as mail merge? But it's one of those things that I still get emails about, and every time I get the email, I'm like, I'm surprised somebody hasn't learned it. But if you haven't learned it, if you haven't had the need, you just haven't learned it. So, and Linda teaches really well. So let's see.
It's basically magic once you do learn it. So it's a wonderful topic to just keep offering things on.
Linda's saying, awesome, love to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, so Leanne is in the house. Hi, Leanne. Good to see you. Jason is saying happy Friday, and Monique is answering my reference to ILTA. Can't make ILTA. Yeah, Monique, I would have loved to meet you too in person. So, okay, so I want to talk about, before we get into what your program offers, I want to talk about your personal perspective on legal professionals learning legal technology. So,
right. So my perspective is that in many cases, learning legal technology has moved from being, recommended as a business advantage or business strategy to required. And that's because of, incorporation of technology requirements into ethics rules. ABA Model Rule 1.1, I believe, has actually incorporated technology competency into general competency standards for attorneys. And I think last count, 31 states have adopted that. Texas is not, so that's where I'm mostly concerned. But Texas does have a number of ethics opinions dealing with things from email to metadata, and so there's a real requirement for attorneys who want to practice ethically, basically. Additionally, ethics rules require attorneys to supervise their staff and make sure that the staff knows the things they need in order to practice ethically, basically. And so, to a certain extent, an attorney doesn't have to know every single legal tech skill that a paralegal does, but has to know enough to know that whoever they're supervising is doing things appropriately. Moving beyond that, the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure have e-filing standards, for instance, that get down so granular that you almost have to know how to change your scanner to 300 DPI just to practice ethically, because that's how specific those standards get. So, there's the requirements like that. Looking at market forces, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the legal tech audit and the legal tech assessment that happened a few years ago.
Yeah, with Casey Flaherty.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. So you've got things like that where, in-house counsel is requiring large firms to know how to use Microsoft Word. Yep. And that seems pretty basic, but at the same time, that's going to filter down to folks who use the Harris County Law Library, which are, solo and small firm attorneys, as well as their staffs, and then members of the public who, because of these market forces, are going to be impacted. And then this is probably getting into the next portion of the program, but, where do those individuals turn when, they don't have traditional avenues of education? So that's really, my philosophy now is there are so many ways that technology standards are being incorporated into legal standards that you have to have that basic technology, the basic understanding of certain technologies in order to comply with the rules and certain laws.
Yeah, I mean, it's about doing things efficiently. When Casey started that thing, it just brought out awareness about the fact that there was inefficiency. And having worked in law firms most of my career, I saw the inefficiency, right?
Right.
Lawyers trying to do things they don't know how to do and being stubborn about it.
Right. And inefficiency is one consideration, accuracy as well. I believe Casey stresses that, being able to use the automated features of Word is much more preferable to, looking at 30, 50, 100-page contract and maybe missing an entry, where if you use the find and replace feature, you wouldn't do that. So, yeah, efficiency, certainly. Accuracy is another consideration.
Yeah, good point, good point. Steve is saying hello from Houston. Glad he made it to the live stream. Steve was emailing with me earlier this week, and I was like, show up for the live stream.
All right, fellow Texan there, huh?
Yep. Dennis is saying hi. Hi, Dennis. And Linda was commenting that everyone underestimates the mail merge. Let's see.
I don't anymore, I'll say that.
Okay. So you got to Harris County Law Library and you implemented this awesome program that I found by Googling legal technology training to see who else is doing something new out there. And I was really impressed with what you're doing. So here you are sharing. I'm sharing you with everybody else. So you have something you created called Legal Tech Institute. Why don't you tell everybody how that got started?
Sure. So it was really in response to some pain points that we saw from our patrons, people who were using the law library. Like I mentioned, legal technology understanding is a requirement these days, but how do people get the educational opportunities they need? There are traditional ways you can take classes at law schools or community colleges if you're paralegal, that sort of thing. But, that doesn't always fit into people's schedules. That might be too expensive if it's somebody who, is a member of the public and needs sort of basic level understanding. And then, a lot of courses are focused on innovation, which is definitely necessary. But this is, what we were more focused on were the barriers to entry that technology presents. And so we were responding directly to a need. And it was actually exemplified in a blog post that I read about an attorney in Oklahoma. The case is Oklahoma Bar Association v. or Oklahoma State Bar v. Oliver, I believe. And Mr. Oliver was a longtime practicing bankruptcy attorney who actually was suspended from practice before the bankruptcy court, where he practiced for, I believe, 3 decades or more. In the opinion, the Supreme Court of Oklahoma actually says that there was no problem with his substantive knowledge or anything like that. It was just the judge required him to e-file and comply with those rules, and he wasn't able to do it within the allotted amount of time. And I read that and I started thinking, well, how many of my patrons are facing the same thing, and don't really have access to basic access to educational opportunities like that. So my team and I started investigating, and one problem you always have is people have so many different learning styles that just attending lectures isn't always, the best way to go. So when we started the Legal Tech Institute back in fall of 2016, we, from the onset, we were like, okay, we have to offer the traditional lectures, and we did that with guest speakers coming in. But we also have to offer online content. And it would be great if we could offer video content, on-demand video content as well to meet with people's learning styles and schedules and that sort of thing. So from the onset, what we did is we got guest speakers as well as my staff presenting on topics, and we started off with social media for attorneys, for example. And we recorded that program. I edited the video, and we made that available online. Now, I wasn't responsible for the recording. Thankfully, we have a security manager on staff who has some hidden talents. He's actually a professional photographer, and he does some videography in his spare time. So he brings in his own equipment, and it's high definition video and audio, and we are extremely lucky to have him. His name is Joe, too. So if you want the whole video editing team at my place, you just say Joe, and we all come running,
That's awesome.
So the idea is we want to offer, high quality content to everybody, right? We don't put any restrictions on who can attend our programs, and we want to offer that in a variety of formats. So we offer it in live programs, and we started off with lunchtime programs, but we found that people really like going out and having lunch. So we've kind of moved that around a bit sometimes. But we also have this great conference space in the lower level of our building. It's the Harris County Attorney Conference Space or Conference Center. And so we were able to have, large programs there with 30 to 40 people.
Wow.
We did programs initially on social media, blending your legal research, which is something that is very important at a location like mine, where we want to talk about the standard tools that a lot of people need access to, like Westlaw and Lexis. I think nobody would argue that they are leaders in the field of digital legal research. But then you have additional resources out there like Fastcase and CaseMaker, Google Scholar. There's all sorts of different tools available to people. And so, we concentrated on that for a program and collaborated with the Texas State Law Library to talk about their remote database offerings. And then we also did our original Word for Lawyers and other law types is how we put it. So we could focus on those, basic digital drafting skills that people need, from, just how to change typeface to bold or small caps if you're doing law review articles, right? But, moving on to some more automated things like how to do tables of authority, how to do find and replace, or how to use styles, all the things that are available in any version of Word, and most people have it, they just don't know how to use it, and it could increase efficiency, accuracy, all those sorts of benefits.
Right. So you were, I was reading on your website that you actually got a grant?
Yes, that's right. So that was the next phase of the Legal Tech Institute. We applied for a grant with the Texas Bar Foundation, and we asked for funding so that we could buy laptops in order to offer hands-on legal tech training. Absolutely. And that is a big learning style, especially for skills learning, is being able to actually do the skill as you're learning it. And so that's what we were going for with this extension of the program. And the folks at the Texas Bar Foundation really liked the idea, and they supported us with, I believe, 92% of what we asked for, which is not that frequent for a first-time applicant like the Harris County Law Library. And so I think that was a good show of support. And so we purchased 22 training laptops, along with keyboards, Bluetooth keyboards and mice, so that you could have a full-size keyboard in front of you. And so we've developed programs that that take advantage of hands-on learning, so that people can really learn those skills and reduce them to practice as soon as they learn them.
So let me check the comments real quick. Kimberly saying that's awesome. So many people learn by hands-on. I totally agree with you, Kimberly. Ramesh is
Absolutely.
in the house. Good to see you again, Ramesh. Christine's here from San Diego. Christine was on a few weeks ago. I'm going to keep saying that, Christine. I'm going to keep referencing the fact that you were on the show. And Christine is agreeing with our earlier comments about making legal work efficient, but woe to the ones who do not use the technology correctly and create inefficiencies. Good point. Good point. So overall, since you've started the program, we're going to take a look at what you specifically offer, although you just gave a summary. And we're going to take a look at the lab that you built with those laptops and stuff. But overall, what's the reception? It's hard to get lawyers to realize. Somebody has to, drag them to training sometimes. So, I mean, that's my experience in a law firm, trying to get them to come to training classes, right?
Right.
So
right.
What's the reception been? Have you had a good turnout? What's it been like?
We have, yeah. So we offer the lecture style courses periodically, usually once a month, although there was a certain hurricane a little while back that kind of disrupted some of that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we regularly have 25 to 40 people for each of those, which is great. Now we do offer CLE credit. We worked out an arrangement with our parent organization's CLE committee. So that's the Harris County Attorney CLE committee. And, they work with us really well. We get course descriptions together and the credentials for our speakers, that sort of thing. And then, we have somebody on staff about 15 floors up from us who actually applies for the CLE credit. It's accredited. At that point, we can offer that to attorneys to get them there. But the added benefit is we've been able to produce certificates for like paralegals and legal assistants with that Texas course number, state bar course number on there. And they've been able to turn that into credit for their professional organizations as well. I know there's quite a few different ones, but it seems like once you get it CLE accredited, then it also applies in other settings as well. And so we've been able to help out a wide variety of individuals that way. So that's definitely a draw. Like I said, so for our guest speaker and lecture style CLE, we draw about 25 to 40 people each time.
That's a good turnout. I mean, 25 to 40 is excellent.
Yeah, we're very happy with that. And then for our hands-on legal tech training, we've actually created a space that only seats about 9 people. And part of the reason for that is we want to make sure there's interactivity and people can feel comfortable asking questions so that we can, slow down and examine things if there's an issue. And that's going to be different for every group, what you have to slow down on. Some people are amazed when we show them the hotkey for inserting a section symbol. And some people are like, I've known how to do that since 1996. So, it's when you're working with a smaller crowd size like that, you really have to, you really have the opportunity to slow down and interact and make sure everybody's, kind of picking up all of the skills, get a more comprehensive look
you're
that way.
Absolutely right. You have to mix and mingle the things that you think are simple that people probably know, but then there's always somebody who raises their hand and say, I didn't even know that. And then a little bit more, things that are more mainstream, you just never know what people know or don't know. So, yeah.
Right. And that's why we offer the programs as we do, so that we can kind of cover a lot of ground and make sure we have something for everybody. But so the response to that has been pretty good as well. We've offered those programs basically every Thursday at 2:00 since February, and there was only one where we didn't have anyone actually show up. We've had people sign up for every single program. Getting them to actually, come to the program is a thing. But that's also another point. If we currently we're offering 3 courses on rotation as our hands-on legal tech trainings, and so my staff, doesn't have to relearn a new program every single week, which means we can offer it, on a as-needed basis, which means, if people get called off to court, the docket gets extended or something, we're not going to, basically say, no, you have to show up to our program. We know where, the importance is in the legal field. So, offering that amount of flexibility is another aspect of the program that we find very important and well received as well. I will say we've worked with the Houston Bar Association quite a bit to advertise our programs, and it seems as though this really fills a need in their educational offerings for their 11,000 members in the city of Houston. Now they've actually gone out and partnered with the Apple Store in town in order to offer iOS-based training, which is fantastic. I know one of the screens you're looking at now is a MacBook, right? Yeah. And that's very common in the legal field. The ABA tech report that comes out every year just shows the vast majority of the market share is with Apple, so that's great. But so we tend to focus on the Microsoft products, and that's because even if you prefer a Mac, in some areas of the legal profession, it's a Windows world. You might access your email through an iPhone, but it's going to go through an Exchange server, right? And if you're typing up a document,
on a Mac, you're still installing Office, right? I mean, I have
exactly.
Yeah, and it's gotten better and better. There's no more Office for the Mac anymore. It's just Office.
It's just Office.
Yeah,
that's right.
It works pretty good.
So if you're drafting a document, if you're looking at a spreadsheet, you're using a Windows product, and so that's what we're focusing on, because it's that's almost become a form of literacy within a lot of fields, is to be able to use Word and Excel and those sorts of things.
So what are you charging for the training?
Nothing. So everything that the Harris County Law Library offers is free and open to the public all the time.
Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah. I want to show off your tech lab let's switch to this view. And so you used part of the money, like you said, to buy laptops, but you also set up this space that you're calling the Legal Tech Lab. Why don't you tell us about it?
Right. So if you see behind my colleague who's leading the course there, that's Elizabeth, our newest law librarian at the Harris County Law Library. You see, there's the traditional stacks that you think of when you think of a law library, right? Yeah. And so one thing that happened at the end of last August was we lost our conference space. Like I mentioned, our main conference space was in the lower level, and during Hurricane Harvey, it got 6 inches of water, which, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that means that you have to lose about 2 or 3 feet of drywall.
6 inches inside a building is a lot.
Yes. And so we lost our main space. So to a certain extent, the space that you see on the screen there was born out of necessity. Yeah. And so we were trying to figure out, where we could offer these programs. And so I looked at a section of our stacks here. These are lower shelves, the type that are only about 3 shelves high, and then you have a wooden platform on top of there where you can do your research. So I looked at just one small section back here, about 9 feet of shelving, and thought, if we could drop those tops down, those would make excellent desks for training space. And so, I pitched this crazy idea to my boss. I was like, you know what, I do woodworking in my off time, and I would be happy to try and build legs so that we can convert those front 2 shelving units into desks, and then and there they are. And we can, still use the metal legs for the back one, and just make that sort of a bar height, space in the back there. So she gave me some leeway, and I started, purchasing wood from the Home Depot and
so the top part is from shelving in the library, right? The
that's right.
Lighter colored wood is from book where you would normally put books in a shelf, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that you can see there, in the back row, it just sort of extends the length.
Yeah.
And so they're separated out though into about 9-foot sections so that you can deconstruct them and move them around if you need to. But because it's metal bracing underneath, it's very hard to control how high it is, and we wanted to make it the same height as the rest of the tables in the law library so that we could use regular chairs there. So I did the measuring, drew out a design, chopped everything up, put it back together. And
where did you build it? Do you have a garage? Were you in the library doing the buzzsaw? What'd you do?
No, I built it in my garage. It's my miter saw is pretty heavy duty, and it would be a little loud for researchers, I think, at the law library.
Hey, Vanessa. Let's see here. Let me take this off. Only Houston, Texas folks, nothing online. We're going to get to that, Vanessa. He's already mentioned that there's definitely online stuff, but we're going to get into more detail in a second. Okay, so that's pretty awesome that you did that with, talk about being innovative, trying to solve a solution. Let me just build something, and it looks beautiful. It's a great space. So let's talk about the different kinds of, go ahead, you want to say something?
Well, it's been very functional as well. A lot of people have commented that it's nice to have, some space to be able to spread out a little bit, to look at notes and use all the equipment and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's perfect for our setup.
Great. Okay, so let's talk about the different, you mentioned them as an overview earlier, but I want to specifically discuss what you have. So you do have planned out ahead of time what courses are available, and you put that on your site and let people register for them. But you also have different skill levels with the Get Started Here, Level Up, and Go Pro. And then the 4 courses, is that the 4 courses you currently have right here?
Yes. So this is the course catalog for this year. And just to get started, we mapped out 4 different courses. As I mentioned, we've already developed 3, and those are currently on rotation. The free legal tech for the public, we're still developing, and we're trying to actually make that into something that the legal aid folks can use, as well as public libraries and a wide swath of service providers. So that one's still in development, but we hope to actually make something that can appeal to a wide audience, as well as a lot of our patrons as well. We actually serve a good number of public patrons who need access to legal information. So we want to really put some time into that and make sure that we have a good program there. The other 3, though, we've already developed, and as you mentioned, we've got the 3 skill levels here that we actually divide each course into. Okay. Get Started, Level Up, and Go Pro. And I actually worked with my team to put together basically names for different categories of skill levels, so that we weren't, insulting anybody by calling them beginner or anything like that. So,
I have the same problem.
Right. Yeah. It's a problem across legal tech education, because you don't want to discourage somebody immediately by categorizing them, right? So focus on the skill instead of the audience member, and that's what we did here. So each course has some introductory material. For example, it's in this section where we talk about how to manually edit and format text in Microsoft Word. So how to do typefacing, how to do, paragraph spacing. I don't know if you remember the seismic shift between Word 2003 and 2007, right? Where we went from double spacing to single spacing, but that paragraph spacing. That just causes
the current
so many
is
issues.
1.15, and I'm always like, who thought that up?
Sure. It's a very creative spacing. So, but a lot of people want to make their document look a certain way, and it would be great if they could focus on the substance rather than the formatting. And so we try to cover how to do like basic formatting for text, paragraph, and page in that section. With the level up section, we focus on things like how to save specifically as a PDF-A, so you can comply with a lot of e-filing rules that are out there. And then some automated features like find and replace, just to make sure everybody's taking advantage of those. And then in the GoPro section, we talk about things like how to look for metadata, how to do tables of authorities, and more advanced things.
Right. I just want to throw this in here. My friend Rick is watching. Let me take this down. So Rick is saying I also do woodworking. Rick just built a beautiful, earlier this year, or is it last fall, Rick? He built a beautiful dining room table from a piece of wood, and it's really thick and really beautiful. So he has an appreciation for what you did.
That's awesome. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. And, if you can share a photo of your dining room table through Amy, please do. I'm always looking for new projects to take on.
I'll definitely make that happen. Okay, so that was the curriculum overall for the hands-on. You also offer on-demand, so talk about that for a little bit.
Right. So, a number of different considerations. Attorneys and legal professionals are busy. Right, so they can't always attend our in-person trainings. Also, a lot of people like to learn online, with a video that they can, go back to something at a previous moment in time, or replay it, or just be in the comfort of their own home. So, what we did from the onset was all of our live programs, we try and make a recording of those. Of course, we get the speaker's consent first. That would be bad if you showed up for CLE and all of a sudden you have some guy putting a mic on you and you don't know what's happening, right? So we try and give our speakers a heads up, but we record those. As I mentioned, our security manager does some videography, and so he's got professional equipment and produces a high definition AV recording for me that I then take and edit with Camtasia. That's sort of a pretty standard video editing and screen capture software. Yeah, and it's extremely easy to use. I like it. In fact, I did a program at a conference recently on using Camtasia to edit video for law libraries. Law librarians do a lot of teaching, and especially with remote online courses. So that was pretty well received, and I personally love the software. I can't give them an official plug, but I would recommend people check it out if they're looking for an option. Anyway, so
I would assume that everything you've implemented with LTI, Legal Technology Institute, that you can share what you've gone through at. I would think that you're speaking at law librarian conferences, whatever those are. I don't go to them, but mm-hmm. They have conferences, right? I would think that you could share what you're doing, because everybody needs to do this, right?
Yeah, that's right. I just went to the American Association of Law Libraries conference. It was, I believe, the 111th conference.
Wow.
Which is annual conference, which is quite an accomplishment. But we were in Baltimore, and I was asked to participate.
You were right near me? Oh my God!
I know. Sorry, I didn't stop by. Yeah, I actually went sailing in Annapolis. That was my school time. It was beautiful weather out there. It was right before all of the rain, which I hope is now gone away for everybody out there. But
yes.
Good. But no, it was a great conference. In fact, some legal tech bloggers have called that conference the second best tech show, around, which is
I think
which
people
is fantastic.
Don't really. I remember working at a large law firm, and several large law firms actually, and befriending the law librarians based on our both love for tech. Right? We would talk tech all the time. So I think people don't think about it, I have to even remind myself that, you know, you guys try to teach people and help people, and you provide training, you know, at law schools, but also inside a law firm. So it's pretty...
Right. Yeah. A lot of my colleagues at the large law firms here in Houston, you know, just did their summer intern trainings in the past few months, and all of that incorporates, you know, digital legal research, you know, which is extremely important these days, and how to do that not only you know, accurately, but also cost efficiently and you know, efficiently all around, because that's something that law students don't necessarily take into account when they have free unlimited access, is how much it actually costs in a business environment. So that's where law librarians tend to focus on digital information literacy, basically.
Yeah, I remember teaching in Georgetown's paralegal program, and I actually sometimes used their training. They had one training room in the building for Georgetown's continuing education, and I had to fight over it with the guy who taught like Adobe After Effects and stuff like that, Photoshop. But sometimes they would port me over to Georgetown Law School, which was, you know, 6 blocks away, and put me in the training room, which was in the back of the library. So I would walk through the library and get to the training room to teach my students. And we got in trouble a few times for making too much noise making that trip to and from the training room. You know, coming out of class, making too much noise, and we're in the library right then. Okay, so it's at the half-hour mark. I want to get through. This is your current CLE accredited courses that you have, right?
Yes, so this is what we have available on our website as OnDemand CLE, and these are actually through the State Bar of Texas, are accredited for an entire year after you receive accreditation. So that's quite useful, you know, as far as OnDemand. Additionally, it doesn't show there because I haven't added the new course number, but a previously accredited video that we have on cloud computing. We just received word that we got that one re-accredited, so we'll actually move that one back up here, and we'll round out the.
This is so that's what you're talking about, the ethics of cloud computing.
Yeah.
So these are the ones where the accreditation has expired, but you're still making them available.
That's right. Yeah. So after that year, a lot of this information is still very good information. Excel Essentials there was a fantastic program that so many people have commented on positively.
Ben is passionate. For those of you that don't know Ben Kuzman, he's in New York. Very passionate about getting legal professionals to embrace Excel.
Yes, and we were very fortunate that he has family in Texas, and so he had to fly into Houston anyway, and that's how we were able to kind of get on his schedule. But we actually kind of connected with Ben because we featured his blog on our blog, and he saw that in his analytics and contacted us, and so we started talking about this program, and it's been so well received, you know, that we've left it up here. Additionally, you know, social media for lawyers is a good one because we talk about not only marketing on social media, but also how to use it for, you know, evidentiary purposes. And then we also had a guest speaker to talk about some ethical issues from the Harris County Attorney's Office. So, you know, still good information. So we make sure we leave these up in case people want the information, not necessarily needing the CLE credit.
Right. Okay, so 2 more things. We have the Screencasts. So that was the CLE stuff. And this is just your growing library of screencasts?
Right. So we try to break things down into 2-minute segments that we get a lot of questions on. The 2 immediate pain points we had were how to create PDF documents. That's required for a lot of e-filing rules. And then a lot of people needed to know how to use the undo feature in Word. Which, you know, again, that just like mail merge, undo is magic if you can use it correctly.
Yeah.
And so this is just another way to be able to offer this this type of information in a way that people learn, which is, you know, I don't want to watch an entire 1-hour CLE online. I just want the snippet that I need right now.
Yep.
So we're actually going to focus on this a little bit more in the coming year and put together a much bigger collection of these. Now, I will mention, just in case, anybody's waiting around for me to actually edit these videos and I'm taking too long. The University of Buffalo Law Library in New York has a wonderful collection of videos just like this, where they've broken down Word and I believe Excel into a lot of the tasks that people need. So I'd recommend you check those out as well.
Can you say it again? What was the resource? Say it again.
Sure. It's the University of Buffalo Law Library. On their website, they have a collection of screencast videos like this.
Buffalo as in New York?
Yes, Buffalo, New York. Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to the blog that you have of, it's not videos, but it's, sort of like my blog has always been, helpful educational blog posts, even including this one. This is one of your latest ones, so.
Right, and I do have to tout your blog. Your post recently about keyword searching was, right up my alley. We talk about that on a daily basis at the law library with our free Westlaw and Lexis access. We have to, help people construct keyword searches. So thank you for posting that. It's always needed for sure. Our blog, though, we offer a Tech Tuesday post. Obviously, those come out on Tuesdays. Hopefully, that's not too much of a surprise.
Yeah.
But we've offered these now for, I believe, 3 years, maybe just 2. Time kind of flies, like I said.
Yep.
But these focus specifically on legal technology and what you need in order to be able to practice, and some useful tools out there as well for efficiency and accuracy. So this one is one that I wrote just a week or 2 ago, when competent practice means scanning in 300 DPI. And what I focused on here was how you scan a document and what it needs to do to comply with the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure might depend on you being able to find yet another document that's on the Texas Courts website, which is the Judicial Committee on IT Standards that are actually referenced in the Rules of Civil Procedure. So what you can see is that the convergence of legal tech and actual legal rules involves a heck of a lot of legal research if you have to find multiple documents just to figure out, what the actual standard is.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was looking at here, and it was really well received. It was reposted in the American Association of Law Libraries Daily Digest, so it went out to a national audience of law librarians, and then was also featured as, I believe, a top 10 post on Texas Bar Today, which is from the State Bar of Texas.
That's awesome. Okay, so we have Kimberly saying she's quite impressed. I was too, Kimberly. And then Unkit is saying hello from India, staying up late to watch the show. And Rick is clarifying that it was this year and it was from Red Oak. And I will definitely get you the photo of what he built.
Ah, very nice.
Okay, I want to thank you, Joe, so much for your time and coming on the show. And keep it up. Keep up what you're doing. It's awesome. Let me know if I can help in any way. I'm spreading the news right now as we speak, and this, will be forever on the interwebs. So, but congratulations, you've done a great job. I love your innovation and the content, and just always thinking about the learner. So. Absolutely.
Yeah, and thank you as well. I like the content that you put up, especially, as I mentioned, Linda's episode, but all the episodes that you've put online. We actually try to refer people to resources like your show if it fits their specific needs. So I'm always happy to see another collection of information online.
So Kimberly's saying you've obviously put a lot of hours into it, and that's what I noticed too. So great job. All right, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to let everybody go. Just a reminder, if you showed up a little bit later, that let me know if you're going to be at ILTA next week. Some people have already reached out to me, and I look forward to meeting people in person, especially when they come to, a city near me, Joe, which is only 25 minutes from my house, Joe.
Sorry.
And then fill out the survey. This is the last week I'm going to do the survey. I started it last week. It's a 2-minute survey on giving feedback on this show before I start season 4. There is going to be about a month break before season 4, so hope you guys can wait that long for season 4. But I am going to make some tweaks based on your feedback in that survey, so now's your time to speak up. So I hope you have a great weekend. Joe, thank you again for coming on the show, and we'll see everybody soon. Oh, here we go. Rosa, thanks for all you do. Houston Techie Legal Secretary. I love when we get local people too.
All right. Yeah. Come by and see us.
That's awesome. All right. See you guys later. See you, Joe.
All right. Bye.